I'm 39 and male. My wife is 36. We have 2 sons, 5 and 3. 2 years ago, my wife approached me one day and told me that she was interested in making some money off of Instagram. I thought it was a fine idea, as she was home during the day and couldn't work because our younger son was still too small. We're fortunate that I make enough money to support our lifestyle comfortably, and I encouraged her to go for it. Unfortunately, in the past 2 years as a hopeful Instagram influencer, she has not made a single cent. Her earlier attempts at gaining followers were for postpartum fitness, and since she knows nothing about fitness, that went nowhere. She tried to make exercise guides where she would do these bizarre mobility movements, and these would only get a few views. She moved on to doing makeup tutorials, which similarly fell flat, likely because there are a billion such channels out there. Then she jumped onto this slice of life train, where she would make videos talking about her day, but to be frank they all were pretty boring, and she failed to attract any attention. The issue isn't that she's trying. The issue is that she spends the overwhelming majority of her waking hours on Instagram and skirts her household responsibilities. I wake up at 5 a.m., go for a run, come home, make breakfast for everyone, then make lunch for our older child and myself, and take him to kindergarten. I go to work until about 5 p.m., get home around 5:30, make dinner for everyone, wash most of the dishes, tidy up a bit, bathe our sons, play with them, and go to bed. She wakes up at 7:45, usually later because she was up late on Instagram, lies down on the sofa as I do everything, and while I'm at work she works on her Instagram more. Any attempt to get her to do something is met with complaining. The other day I finally got fed up with her because I walked in the door to a complete disaster zone of things strewn everywhere, the laundry not done, and a sink full of dirty dishes. I asked what she had done all day, to which she responded she was busy. I snapped at her and told her that her Instagram is going nowhere and that I've put up with it for 2 years longer than I should have, and that she would be infinitely more useful cooking and cleaning. She got this horrified look on her face and walked away. She went into the bedroom, naturally looking at her phone, and left me to deal with everything that night. Comment 1. There's a reason that these things are usually side hustles until they go big. It's hard to make it. Having no job, bringing in no income and contributing nothing to the household is not a realistic way to be a good partner. Could you have worded it better or been more tactful? Sure, but I get how you would just kind of snap in the moment. NTA. Comment 2. NTA, even if she was making money she would still be neglecting your kids and her whole job as a stay-at-home mom. You should have centered the conversation around that. She can be an influencer wannabe but she should still do her tasks. I'm sure with having the kids at kindergarten she would still have the time to be an influencer. Many of them center their content around cleaning the house or preparing meals. Comment 3. NTA. Maybe the wording wasn't the best, but the sentiment behind it, that she is neglecting her responsibilities, is valid. It sounds like you're the third wheel in your own marriage when her phone with the Instagram account is more important to her. Be very careful she doesn't try turning her hand and video camera to mommy blogging because that can easily turn exploitative and she's looking for social media validation. My dad and I, 17F, started therapy 3 weeks ago and last week during our 3rd session I opened up bluntly about how I feel like my dad let me down and failed me by prioritizing being married and his own happiness. This was not the first time I tried speaking openly to my dad about this, but it's the first time he said he appeared willing to listen and the first time he took the harm it was doing to our relationship seriously. Let me explain. My mom died when I was just a baby and my dad was a single dad until I was 4. It was then he met my stepmom / his wife Sharon. Sharon was a divorced mom with a 9-year-old son and an 8-year-old daughter. They got married when I was 5. Sharon's kids / my step-siblings never liked me. They always hated me. When my dad and Sharon first got married I thought of them as my siblings and loved them totally. But they were really mean to me. They'd say they hated me, that everyone hated me, that I should leave. They encouraged me to run away because nobody would miss me. They said I would never be their sister or their family and I was a weirdo for calling them my siblings. Sharon noticed more than my dad. But I used to tell my dad, and when things got bad I asked if we could leave. But he'd try and reassure me, but was very dismissive of how much it was hurting me. He told me we couldn't leave because Sharon was his wife and we were all a family now and you can't leave a family. Sharon only ever said anything when her kids made me cry. I have 2 half-siblings from my dad and Sharon. I was so excited when they were born and I bonded with them and loved helping with them and playing with them. But then my step-siblings decided to use them against me and they were older and Sharon would let them do more and eventually they told our half-siblings that if they wanted to do cool stuff with them they had to say no to playing with me and rejecting me became the normal thing. My younger siblings would repeat a lot of what my step-siblings would say to me. This continued even after my step-siblings moved out because they would take our younger siblings out or they would visit them and bring gifts. For the year to year I have been withdrawn and I stopped trying. I don't try to do anything with my younger siblings, I don't hang out with dad like I used to and my focus is on moving out. My dad started to notice late last year and he sent me to a therapist and then decided family therapy was needed for the 2 of us. This is when last week happened. My dad looked really shocked at first and he was apologetic. After we got home Sharon asked me why I had to be so hard on my dad. My dad and Sharon argued about it. I spent the rest of last week trying to be alone with my thoughts. Our next session is tomorrow. Sharon apologized for saying what she did but reiterated that she feels like I handled it badly. My dad tried to talk to me since the appointment but I don't know how to talk to him anymore without our therapist. Comment 1. NTA, it's bad enough that your dad and Sharon knew about your step-siblings bullying you, but the fact that you didn't shut your step-siblings down when they played childish games with your half-siblings and manipulated them to be nasty to you as well tells me they are bad parents. You have a right to be angry, your dad is supposed to be your advocate and he failed you. OP comment. That's right. I think my dad would have wasted his time trying to influence my step-siblings. But my siblings are his kids and he could have done a lot to try and help us with that relationship so they would know to ignore the stuff my step-siblings were saying. Instead they now have their favorites through manipulation and they're used to saying mean things about me. Comment 2. NTA. Sharon is continuing to victimize you by saying what she said. She benefits from the status quo, she benefits from you shutting up. She does not have your best interests at heart. You are 100% correct about what you said to your dad, not only because it's how you feel and that's what you were told to share, but also objectively. And you are not responsible for his feelings about what you said. Keep going to therapy. Keep being honest. Tell the therapist and your dad what was said and how it made you feel. She guilted you, you shut down, you don't feel safe sharing your feelings with him, and now therapy feels unsafe too because it's being shared and weaponized against you. I am so sorry, I hope your dad does some soul-searching and the hard work to help you. My 27F boyfriend, 36M, of 8 years works at the Amazon distribution center and I am the one to give him rides to and from work, as he works overnights and I work days. He does have a friend who takes him to work 1 time a week. I also take him to appointments when needed and to the gym daily. He does not have a car or license at this time due to several unpaid speeding and parking tickets. So about 3 weeks ago I was laid off from my job in marketing. I was making about $55 an hour and holding things down at home with the mortgage and bills without any issues, so I never found it necessary to ask him for gas money to take him to work and home. I figure he works hard and doesn't get paid much, so why make things worse for him? I fill up my gas tank about 1 time a week for $60. I understand that he is making only $16 an hour and working only about 24 hours per week. I am also privileged to have gotten a master's degree, so I can see how charging him for gas may be an asshole move. But now that I am unemployed and living on much less from unemployment, I am on a budget. I feel like I'm making changes to my lifestyle, such as letting go of my personal training sessions, going natural with my nails and avoiding overconsumption. So on Thursday I asked him about paying to fill up my tank once every 2 weeks, and I'll pay the other 2 weeks, and he got really upset and told me how much easier life has been for me and how I take that for granted. He also says he doesn't have the money to pay $120 a month for gas, which is understandable because he only makes about $350 every week, even though I have been paying all the bills since we moved in together 4 years ago. I told him that I am not a free Uber service and I feel taken advantage of at times. He still has avoided talking to me about the matter. Am I the asshole in the situation? Comment 1. Please tell me he's not on the deed to your house. Can't keep a license because he drives irresponsibly and doesn't pay his fines, works minimum wage part-time, thinks it's your responsibility to chauffeur him around and pay for the privilege, pays no bills, started a relationship with a teenager when he was almost 30. He is not a winner. OP comment. He is not on the deed. I bought this house before we moved in together and I was doing great with my job and making lots of money. This is partly why I am being so stingy about the money. I can't lose this house. He has asked to be put as an owner as well, but I always brush it off because I know he wouldn't help me pay for it. Comment 2. He's a 36-year-old grown-ass man only working part-time because you've been footing all the bills for the past 4 years. Now he's got a sense of entitlement, outraged that you would dare to ask him to pay for the gas he's using. Now you're getting the silent treatment, because you dared to speak the truth. He needs to get a full-time job and start contributing. As your partner, he should be trying to make your life easier. You're stressed out because you just lost a job. So what does he do to help? Tell you how easy it's been for you? What does he do in his spare time, which he has a lot of? Play video games? How else does he contribute, if not financially? Does he clean the house? Does he do more than 50% of the housework, since you've been paying all the bills? Sure seems like you're getting played. You might be a chump, but you are NTA. I, 15F, have always had a tight bond with my older brother, 24M. He raised me, as we were both in the same foster system before adoption. Anyways, my brother has been dating his now fiancée, 22F, for 3 years now. My whole family loves her and she is the perfect person for him. So, a couple days ago was my quinceañera. My sweet 15. Everything had been planned for about a year. The dress, the gigantic venue, my mom decided to invite so many more people that I really wanted, the cake, everything. It was my special day and I was truly excited. Then my brother comes along. Halfway through my party, out of basically nowhere, he made the DJ play his girlfriend's favorite slow song, and popped the question to her right there and then. Everyone was in shock, especially his girlfriend. She said yes, but I saw her run off to the bathrooms immediately after, not looking the happiest. I knew for a fact that she had stated to him multiple times that she wanted him to propose to her on their own time, since she's generally really anxious around large groups of people, and all that attention being on her was upsetting. I went up to him after, pissed off about why he decided to propose to her at my birthday, when for once, the day was about me, not him. He replied that it was too much work to get the family all together himself, so he thought this was a good time. I reminded him that he and his girlfriend had a pre-planned trip to Mexico in 2 weeks, and asked him why he couldn't just do it then on their own time. He replied that our aunt had made him feel bad for not considering proposing in front of family just because his girlfriend preferred to have that intimacy in private. So, he took her word, did not tell me or my mom, and decided to just do this. If he had told me in advance, I probably would have been okay with it. I was kind of used to sharing the spotlight with him anyways, and that he knew this would put all of the attention on him, on my special day. And, he had previously stated to me that he did not want me playing a role in his wedding, as I was too old for a flower girl and too young for a bridesmaid. So, if he didn't want me to play a part in his wedding, why did he now play a part at my birthday? I got upset and went to the bathrooms to check on his fiancée. She was crying when I got there, and we talked out our anger and anxiety for a while. She wanted something private, I wanted to finally have my own celebration. He hurt both of us, so the two of us plus my mom kicked him out, and he looked extremely hurt and cried and started apologizing. We still kicked him out, and he was offended that his fiancée could stay but he couldn't. I never wanted to be the reason he cried, so I cried after, feeling upset and stuck between feelings. So, I wanted to know opinions on how this was handled. Comment 1. NTA, that was really rude of your brother trying to hijack your party. If he wanted an audience for his proposal, he should have organized it. And he didn't consider his girlfriend's feelings. Actually, he disregarded her feelings when he did this. Why do people want an audience for a marriage proposal anyway? Comment 2. Okay, kudos to your mother for supporting you and your future Sil. Your brother pulled some very tacky garbage at yours and your future Sil's expense by totally disregarding her desires and yours. I suspect it was because he didn't want to go through the work and trouble of having a family gathering at his expense after he proposed to her privately. I am sorry he spoiled your day. Your quinceañera is a huge deal to young ladies, and you're right, that day is all about introducing you to the world as a young woman. He should have known that. Your reaction to his behavior was just that, your reaction. His behavior and actions sucked, were tacky and so much more. Think of it this way, his own behavior and being held accountable by your mom is what made him cry, it was nothing you did. NTA. Comment 3. Your brother is selfish. He ignored what his girlfriend wanted, he didn't care about her feelings. And he didn't care about yours either. He just wanted the spotlight on your day. He didn't even ask you first. Do not apologize to him. He should apologize to his girlfriend. NTA.